Well, betters, we won't have many opportunities, but MLB is the standalone sport tonight. So if you want to know what you should be betting on the diamond, you know you're at the right place. It's first pitch time on WagerTalk TV. I'm Dan Alexander, and joining me, we got a great crew for a Friday edition. Bryan Power is joining me. I got Don Buster and Rob Vino. So, guys, I'm excited. Let's cash some tickets and let's be better than that Marlins bat boy who threw the ball into the crowd when it was fair. I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but oh my goodness, little egg on the face. So the bar is low on the show here today. We're looking to be better than the ball boy there. So naturally, let's start off with Bryan Power. Bryan, let's talk a little yayo. Exactly. Let's talk a little Yankees and Brewers. First time they're going to be meeting this year. Milwaukee obviously looking to keep the Cubs at arm's length. So, Bry, how are we betting this one?
Yeah, Dan, always love when the bar is low, and I love when ball boys throw the ball into the crowd, especially when you have the Dodgers, especially like I did. So that was fun. What was not fun was the Yankees last night, losing 10-3 as a big favorite to the Tigers. I'll get back to that in a second. But the first thing that jumped out to me, guys, when looking at this game, Brewers and Yankees Friday night, is Luis Severino opens as a minus 130 favorite. I didn't agree with that number personally, and apparently no one else did either, because the Yankees are now down around minus 110. I know Severino had a couple quality starts at the end of August, but last time out, gives up 4 runs in 4 innings against the Astros. Admittedly, the Astros strong lineup. It was on the road where Severino's numbers have been really bad. But even at home, you're looking at a 4.91 ERA and 1.336 WHIP. I also don't really like the spot here, Dan, for the Yankees. As I mentioned, they played last night. Milwaukee did not play. They had an off day Thursday. And as I mentioned at the top, the Yankees, they lose 10-3 as a big favorite to the Tigers. It's never good, but it's especially bad when you consider the Yankees this season 0-8 after giving up 10 or more runs the previous game. So situationally, not a great spot for the Yanks. I know Colin Ray has also been pretty bad for Milwaukee this season. His last 3 starts, 8.78 ERA, 1.575 WHIP, 6 home runs allowed. But only one of those starts have been since early August. He spent some time down in the minors, and he looked a lot better his last time out, holding the Phillies, Dan, to just 2 runs. It was solo home runs, just one other hit besides that. I think this opening number, we talked about this on the show yesterday. People still think the Yankees have a realistic shot to make the playoffs. I'm not one of those people, not buying the pinstripes here. I would go with the better team in the better spot, and that is Milwaukee.
Thank God. I'm getting tired of the Yankees to the playoffs conversations that have happened. I was talking with Drew Martin about that on yesterday's show. So I'm with you, BP. Let's keep that on rolling. And if you like the content here, make sure you hit that like button and hit subscribe. We have so much more to come through the baseball season, and complement that with all the football content that's coming. Bryan Power going to be on the college football show later this afternoon. Let's welcome on back our man, Don Buster Sports, whatever you call him. Just don't call him late for first pitch. It's great to see you, DB. Let's talk a little Cards and Reds here. The Reds looking to continue that playoff push. It's an open weekend set here against the Cards. So I'm wondering for you, you think they start off a little hot? Well, how are you going to be betting it, DB?
Yeah, I actually do, Dan, and thanks. And for sure, with me being on the show, the bar will be as low as it probably can be, as you know, with you hosting or being in the background of Puck Time for the last few years. I'm going to go here, Dan, with the Cincinnati for the first half on the money line. Cincy, as you said, you know what? They're only 3.5 games back of a wild card spot.
Yep.
Now I know it's a very outside shot because there's only 20 or so more games left, but we all on this panel and yourself, we've seen how certain teams, some things happen in September. Teams get on long, like nice little 10-game runs. So you never know. They still really have a shot. And I really like this Andrew Abbott who's starting tonight. This kid has really impressed me so far. And the thing, he's been really good at home. He's sporting a 2.66 ERA with a WHIP of 0.95. Now, he's already faced the Cardinals this season, and he allowed no runs in 5 2/3 innings. We just need him to do that again today, and we're going to be a winner. But again, I've talked before, I do worry about these young guys throwing a lot of innings. He has only thrown 95, so that may not be bad. But what I did like in his last start, he was really impressive against the Cubs. And that should be good for him tonight. Now, since he gets to go up against Drew Rom, and Rom's taken this will be his fourth start in the major leagues, and the first three, well, they haven't gone that well for him. He's has a 7.24 ERA with a WHIP of 1.90, and I just see Cincy jumping on him, especially with having Abbott starting for them. That'll give them some momentum. And again, they need the wins. The reason I go Taff here is a little basically on some things that have been happening to me the last month as I've been getting just beat up in the last 7 innings, extra innings by bullpens. I've had so many bullpen losses. I went back and actually realized that if I was playing all these games first five, I've been doing a lot better. So we've been playing a lot of first fives this last week to much success, and we'll continue to do so here. We're going to go with first five and a pretty good price with Cincinnati in this one.
I like the first five play. Take the bullpens out of the equation. That's what our man Don Buster says. You have a first five play that you like tonight? Let us know in the comments. Rob Vino's got a big game breakdown for you. He wants to take a look at the Dodgers and the Nationals, and maybe it's just what the Dodgers need here, Rob. After losing 5 of their last 6, they finally get off the snide last night. Maybe it's just they need to visit the Nationals. Is that how you see it, or how are you going to be betting at least game 1?
What they didn't need, Dan, was to lose Mookie Betts last night. That's what they didn't need. So I'm going to look at the Nationals here in a way that I rarely play baseball games, but I'm going to take the underdog full game run line here. So it would end up as Washington plus 1.5 runs minus 20 cents. So obviously the absence of Betts is huge. He's on crutches last night. I don't know how long he'll be out. Could only be a couple of days, but it certainly will be tonight. It's a team that was already without JD Martinez. So slowly but surely, the big guns in that top 5 are starting to erode from the lineup. What you're left with here tonight, and Dodgers offense is still potent. I don't want to sell them short, but it's certainly not the same when it only contains now Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, and I guess you would throw Max Muncy in there because he's been relatively hot as of late. But, the remainder of the lineup, Chris Taylor, Josh Outman, Kike Hernandez, Rosario, and Miguel Rojas. And then when you come to DH, the better options are left-handed and likely won't be in this game because Mackenzie Gore, the starting pitcher for the Nationals, is left-handed. So you're not likely to get David Peralta, who only sees at-bats against righties. You're likely not to get Jason Hayward, who only sees at-bats against righties. Those two guys combined, 49 at-bats versus left-handed pitching all season long. And you could end up with Austin Barnes and his 180 average or whatever it is as your DH here tonight. So Dodgers already, prior to last night, were in somewhat of an offensive slump. The 5 games prior to last night, in 4 of those, they were held to 3 runs or less. And the other one, they scored 4. It was an average of 3 runs per game over the 5-game span before they picked up 10 last night. If I look at the Washington offense, it's been good at home, 4.5 runs, close to 4.5 runs per game. At home, they're hitting 265 as a team, which is 7th best, believe it or not, for home batting average in Major League Baseball. I think if we take the Dodger lineup and the subtractions there and add that to Mackenzie Gore, the starting pitcher for the Nationals tonight, it seems like he's actually the numbers will bear out that he's throwing his best ball of the season right now. Highly touted kid, hasn't really lived up to expectations, but last 3 home starts were against Boston, Milwaukee, and San Francisco, total of 17 1/3. Only gave up 8 hits in 17 1/3 to those 3 teams. Only 2 runs, 20 Ks, 6 walks, only 1 home run allowed. It adds up to a 0.81 whip and a 0.92 ERA. His month of August, he recorded his best batting average against teams. Only hit 214 against Mackenzie Gore in the month of August. And his best on-base percentage against teams only got on base 274 on-base percentage against him in August. This is his first start of September. He's had a little bit of an extended rest here that comes intentionally done by Davey Martinez and the national staff. The other side of the coin, you get Emmett Sheehan for the Dodgers. They just continue to bring up these young guys. We saw Ross Pepio last night give them 7 really good innings of one-hit baseball, saved the bullpen a little bit. And Sheehan's been pretty solid too. He had 4 solid innings last week against Atlanta, but he's not in the regular rotation. And these sporadic starts here and there mean that the bullpen's going to be called upon quite a bit here tonight. Dodger bullpen has been good all season long, in a little bit of a slump right now, but they've been good overall. I think in this case, the Nationals just broke a 6-game losing streak. Davey Martinez came right out and was quoted as saying that there's a renewed confidence and excitement and they want to close the season strong. They've played 42 one-run games this year. That's the 3rd highest in the National League. Here we're going to take 1.5. I'm hoping it gets to be a 1-run game either way here. This way, Washington covers the numbers. So we'll take Washington plus 1.5, full game run line minus 20 cents.
Looking to keep it close there. Full game run line for the Nats. And we're looking, if you want to be so bold and maybe sprinkle a little bit on that money line, looking like plus 130 is the best price that I'm seeing out there. Maybe shop around, find something a little bit better. But we're going to be safe. We're going to take the 1.5 with our man Rob Vino. That's his big game breakdown. Let's talk some best bets, because this guy, Bryan Power, yesterday gave us an absolute rocking chair of a winner. 10-0 best bet yesterday. So what? Let's just replicate it. Let's run it back. Let's have one that's that easy today, BP. What do you got for your best bet?
Well, what a coincidence we've got here, because the game I'm about to talk about, we had it's a pitching matchup that we saw last weekend, and the final score was what, Dan? 10-0. Let's see if we can replicate it. It is Detroit and Chicago. So again, these teams played last weekend in the Windy City. Tigers sweep them. And for tonight's series opener, we've got a rematch of the same pitching matchup we saw in the middle game of that series. Clevenger for Chicago, Reese Olson for Detroit. And again, that matchup produced the biggest blowout of the series. It's 10-0 in favor of Detroit. Olson, he goes 7 innings, obviously doesn't allow a run, just 4 hits. Clevenger gives up 8 runs in 4 innings. Normally, when you have a situation like this, Dan, I might think a little revenge could be in the air, especially because the Tigers played yesterday. The White Sox did not. But there's several reasons why I don't think you can take the White Sox here. One, I'm pretty sure they've given up. Not really in a rush to back a team that's lost 31 of its last 45 games, obviously. 2, the Tigers, as Jeff Michaels brought up on the program yesterday, have been really good in division play. 28-15 against fellow AL Central teams. They're 25 games below 500 against everybody else. And lastly, I just think this pitching matchup of Olson and Clevenger is just heavily slanted the Tigers' way. So that all being said, let's lay the half run in the first 5. I'll do a first 5 play myself here on the program. Olson, he's allowed 1 or 0 runs in 3 of his last 4 home starts. Tigers, minus half a run in the first 5 is your best bet for Friday.
First 5 best bet might be the trend of the show here. We'll see if we can continue with our man Don Buster. Check him out, WagerTalk.com. And also, folks, make sure you like and subscribe here. We greatly appreciate it for the work that these guys are putting in. We had Robert Ward in the chat saying, I'm feeling a Miami Marlins upset tonight. So I think he's going to be liking the breakdown that you have. Me, as a Phillies fan, not so much. But how are you looking to bet this one as the Phils are back home following that 6-game road trip?
Yeah, Dan, well, I know better not to take a team full game. So that's why I went first half again, especially with you being a Phillies fan and you having a little bit of an influence here. So we talked about that a little bit earlier. One time I went and took a total game. So, but I agree with the fellow in the chat. I'm taking the Miami, but again, for the first 5. Now, the Phillies are playing in that first game after a 6-game road trip. Actually, last 3 games were out west, so I like that. So I like them to maybe be a little sluggish early in this one. Miami has Yuri Perez starting, and he has been really good over his last 3 starts. He's sporting a 1.62 ERA with a whip of 0.84. Now, Yuri has struggled a bit on the road, but because this is a bad spot for Philly, I really like him to take care of business early in this one. Christopher Sanchez will take the hill for Philadelphia, and he has been decent so far this year, but he does struggle at home. He has a 4.33 ERA in 10 home starts. So one other problem we see Christopher having here today is that he's facing a Miami Marlins club that love hitting left-handed pitching. They hit 288 as a team, and they actually have been a little worse lately because they were up as high as, if I remember right, maybe in July, maybe 305, 302. So they do like hitting against lefties. We're getting plus money with Perez here for the first 5. And again, with Philadelphia in a bad spot, we'd like them to jump out to an early lead. We don't want to make our man Dan upset, so we go first 5 here. Miami on the money line, first 5 as our best bet for the show today.
All right, Dom, we'll welcome you back for one more since you didn't go full game. But I'm honestly with you on the breakdown there. I wouldn't be shocked if they pulled the full game upset, but especially getting that plus 110 on the return home after the road trip, a little sluggish to start maybe at the home ballpark. Also, you just think about the slump that Bryce Harper has been in. Sure, he finally got a 2-run double, but other than that, I think it was 0-20 since he hit his 30th home run, 0 for 20 at his plate appearances. So one hit does not a slump breaker make. So we'll see. Does the slump continue for Bryce Harper, or did he shake out of it with that 2-run double? Let us know in the chat. Rob Vino is going to get the final word here on best bets. Make it a clean sweep here. Let's go 0-3 on the first 5 plays. You're taking a look at the Royals and the Blue Jays. Game 1 here. What are we looking at, Rob?
Do we really want to go 0-3, Dan? I hope not. Goodness gracious. To be fair to both sides, I'll play on Toronto starter Yusei Kikuchi, and I'll fade the Royals opener, Colin Snyder. This is a bullpen game for the Kansas City Royals. Snyder was just recalled by KC August 25th. He's been a reliever in the minors and with the big league club this year. His time with Kansas City has been limited. His pitch count high for the season is 32. That just happened Monday in relief for the Royals. So what you can assume from that is that Snyder's going to give you probably an inning, maybe 2. And after that, the Kansas City relief parade begins. And I don't think you want any part of the Kansas City bullpen that early in a ball game. Kansas City's bullpen to date ranks 28th in WHIP, 29th in ERA, 29th in hits allowed, 26th in home runs allowed, 27th in walks allowed, all that out of 30 teams. So you get the point here. Toronto's lineup is going to have plenty of opportunity to score early and often against the Kansas City Royals. Add into that they're going to, if they haven't already, activate Bo Bichette from the IL. So he's probably in the lineup here tonight to add to Toronto's ability to score. For Kikuchi, I'm not going to hold a grudge against him for what he just did in Coors Field. A lot of pitchers get mauled in Coors Field. Since June the 1st, and that's a long time ago, he's only had 7 home starts. He's pitched an awful lot on the road. In the 7 home starts since June the 1st, 39 innings pitched, a 108 whip, 3.46 ERA, pretty good for the American League. But the matchup here suits him, Dan, because his biggest problem really is walks. It's not getting hit, it's giving up walks. And he faces the Kansas City offense that's second to last in walk percentage in the major leagues this year. So he likes to walk people. KC won't accept walks. I think that probably bodes well for Kikuchi in this matchup. 2 of his 3 home starts in the month of August were 6-inning, 1-run outings against Baltimore and Philadelphia. So if you can go 6 and only give up 1 run against the Orioles and the Phillies, certainly you can perform that well against the Royals. In fact, he has once already. He did face the Royals in KC, 5 innings pitched, only 1 run allowed. After 5 innings in that game, the Blue Jays were ahead 2-1. I feel like Toronto, in a situation here where they have to capitalize on these sub-500 teams, they've done a pretty good job of it the last 3 series. They haven't been perfect, but they're 6-3 in their last 3 series. All 3 of those were against sub-500 teams like the Royals will be here. I think they can make up some ground tonight. I think the offense should be good enough through 5 innings to support Kikuchi, enough to get him a 5-inning win. And in fact, in his starts this year, they're averaging 5.5 runs per game. I think it all adds up to Toronto here, minus the half run. little bit pricey, at least in my world, laying 50 cents minus half a run. But I think that the pitching matchup certainly favors Toronto here as they get a look at a bunch of Kansas City's bad bullpen arms.
We're all about the first fives today, and yeah, that was my my Miami Marlins bat boy moment there, guys, with the 0-3 tee up for my man Rob Vino. No, we're sweeping the board tonight, guys. Come on now. That's a Friday edition coming to a close. Make sure you check these guys out at WagerTalk.com. But before you head over there, hit that like button and hit subscribe because we have so much content coming your way. As we mentioned, you'll see some of these guys on the college football show from time to time. Check them out on Wager Talk today. Of course, we got our flagship show, Bet On It, that is up live now to get you ready to bet college football and football this weekend in the NFL, so you don't have to go anywhere. All the tools you need, betting all the sports you love, it's just a click away here only on Wager Talk TV. We'll see you next week.